What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing. I just finished up watching Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin, and this was a 12-rounder in the heavyweight division. And this fight was Saturday, April 1st, from the O2 Arena in London, England. And this fight was broadcasted on DAZN. And in this fight, Anthony Joshua was able to get a unanimous decision victory over Jermaine Franklin. So I personally scored this bout 116 to 112 in favor of Anthony Joshua. The three judges scored this bout 117, 111 twice, and 118, 111 once, all in Joshua's favor. So I gave Jermaine Franklin 4 rounds, but that was because of some of Franklin's work in the earlier to middle rounds. But Joshua really took over in this fight late, and the three judges gave Jermaine Franklin 3 rounds twice, and then one of them gave Franklin 2 rounds, and then 1 round even. So yeah, Anthony Joshua, even though he won in this fight pretty clearly, he did not look that good. I'm gonna be honest. He was throwing single punches, not really throwing any combinations. Looked a bit tentative early. Wasn't really the greatest performance. And to break this fight down round by round, so the first 2 rounds were, I thought, pretty clear for Joshua. Joshua was really controlling the pace, I thought. Second round was a bit closer, but I thought that Joshua edged the first two. But then the third round, or the third and fourth rounds, those are rounds I gave to Jermaine Franklin. Like, Joshua would land a nice shot towards the end of the round, maybe one shot earlier, but primarily in the middle of those rounds 3 and 4, Jermaine Franklin was throwing some nice body combinations, and he looked a bit more active than Joshua. And I could say the same for rounds 5 and 6. Those were the 4 rounds I gave to Jermaine Franklin. Specifically round 6. Round 6 was a big round for Franklin that Franklin 100% won. But round 5 was a bit closer as well. But round 6, Franklin was throwing big overhand rights. It was a nice round for Franklin. But then from round 7 through 12, the rounds started to get a bit more quiet, but I'll talk about the ones that were more exciting. Like from round 7 through 9, those were rounds where Joshua won clearly. They were very quiet. Joshua was just jabbing Franklin. Franklin wasn't doing much back. Then in the 10th round, this was the most exciting round of the fight by far. Both of them were exchanging, throwing big punches on each other. Franklin got Joshua with a good shot, but Joshua primarily dictated the pace with his combinations, throwing and landing the better shots in that 10th round. Same in round 11, both of them were throwing much more than the other rounds, but Joshua, again, just was landing the better shots, mainly uppercuts, whilst Franklin was coming in. Then in round 12, it wasn't as exciting as rounds 11 and 10, but Joshua just had the better work overall. And actually, after the end of the fight, I guess Joshua was a bit frustrated with Franklin's holding, because Franklin did hold quite a bit in this fight, but I guess Joshua was frustrated with it because when Franklin turned his back at the end of the last bell of the fight to go back to his corner, Joshua sort of whipped him with his glove on his hair, and then just grazed him on the back of the head. And Franklin turned around, and then Joshua oddly just walked up to Franklin and was sort of pressing his forehead into his face and pushing him back, clinching him kind of. And then Franklin obviously was not having any of that, so then he stuck his arm out, he stuck his glove out to Joshua, almost trying to push him in the face with his fist. And then there was sort of a little brawl in the ring with each other teams trying to pull them off each other a bit. But that was just an interesting thing that happened at the end. And if you did watch this fight, comment down below how you did score it. But this goes into the question, what is next for Anthony Joshua? He said that if he would have lost this fight, he would retire. But obviously he didn't lose, but he didn't look that good. So for Anthony Joshua, in his next fight, we might be able to see him face Dillian Whyte in a rematch. That would be a big British fight. And a big fight worldwide, even though it's between two British fighters. I would definitely tune in, and a ton of people around the world, America, and other countries as well, would definitely tune into it. It's a very big fight between two of the higher level in the heavyweight division. But if Anthony Joshua doesn't fight Dillian Whyte, maybe we could see Joshua maybe even fight Tyson Fury. Who knows? The thing is, Anthony Joshua, he's hinting at retirement nowadays, so he didn't look that motivated, but that could just be his last hurrah or his last way out, just getting a big money fight with Tyson Fury. And I know that Tyson Fury is trying to negotiate with Usyk, but it seems like those negotiations are kind of not going in the right direction. So who knows? Maybe an easy fight could be quickly made with Joshua and Tyson Fury. They could hopefully agree to terms. Or I actually don't want to see that fight, but it's definitely an option. Even though I said hopefully earlier, but I'm saying they'll probably, if they want to get that fight done for Joshua, they'll probably try and do it quick, try and get it out of the way, just so the Usyk can't come in with his own offers and with anything like that. But for Anthony Joshua, I think he'll either fight Dillian White or possibly Tyson Fury. Or yet again, it could be another fighter like this, like top 15 in the heavyweight division, not that highly ranked. Like, who knows? I mean, for Anthony Joshua, at this point, I mean, he's really going downhill. And, I mean, it's just a question of who he can beat nowadays as opposed to how he will continue on, like, furthering his legacy. Because now that sort of stage when he was the top guy, winning titles, defeating guys, former champions, etc., that era is over. Now Joshua is sort of at the end of his career, I guess you could say, because I don't really see him bouncing back and having so much success compared to where he was like 4 years ago. But as for Jermaine Franklin, losing here for the second straight time in his career, he lost a very controversial fight to Dillian White. But, I mean, nonetheless, it was just, Jermaine Franklin, he didn't fight that bad in this fight. I'm going to be honest. He didn't really fight that bad. Like I said, he had a decent performance against Dillian White. Here against Joshua, he didn't fight too badly. So, I mean, he definitely proved he could definitely hang a bit with some of these guys who are higher level in the heavyweight division and higher ranked. So for Jermaine Franklin, I would want to see him in a decent fight against like a top 15 established contender in the heavyweight division that he could get a nice win over. Maybe someone like a Ali Aaron Demirezen, someone like that. Maybe even it would be interesting to see Jermaine Franklin versus, I mean, obviously I would say someone like a Filip Hrgovic. I would say Zhilei Zhang, but he's obviously fighting Joe Joyce. But someone around that level that he could possibly get a win over and that could propel him back into one of the big fight pictures like this. So overall, Anthony Joshua doesn't really impress that much, but he still gets the job done, getting a unanimous decision victory over Jermaine Franklin, getting his 25th victory of his career. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.